Yo, what up YouTube? So in today's video we are breaking down this pain loop that was inspired by Lil Durk's new album, Deep Thoughts. And yeah, I'm gonna go over everything, the pianos, the top line keys, the guitars and the bass lines and everything. So yeah, this one's going to be full of gems, so stick around to the end of the video if you want to maximize the amount of value that you can get from this video. But yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into the breakdown. Alright, so first off, as always, I'm gonna play you the loop so that you can get an idea of what we are working with. Yeah, beautiful loop, man. Definitely something you could hear on Lil Durk's new album. But yeah, let's start the breakdown. So first off, I started off with these keys. These are from the Grandeur and I used the Ultra Bright Grand preset. This is my go-to piano. I love how it sounds. It's rich, strong, but you can also make these soft kind of melodies with it. This is the piano pattern that I came up with. Let's start with the chords. So first off, we have a D minor over here. Then it goes up to a F major, but I added this middle note over here just to bring it a tiny bit of a different tone to the chord. Then lastly, we have a A sharp major 7th. And yeah, that's basically the chord progression on the melody. Then I created this lower bass kind of pattern for the piano. So what I did is I copied these root notes and I transposed them down 2 octaves. Then I built a basic chord shape like this. But I removed this middle note and I moved this from here to here. Then I copied this note and I pitched it an octave up, and I did that for every single chord, and that's how I made that lower pattern. After I had the chords and the lower pattern down, I still wanted some transitioning notes for the chords, so I added all of these notes. And what I love to do on the first chord, go like 1 down from the root note, then go up on the scale until you get this pattern. That pattern works well when you are transitioning into the next chord, and I love to use that little pattern on all my pain loops. Yeah, over here we have a similar pattern, 3 notes that are kind of ascending on the scale. As you can see on the last chord, normally I would have it like this. This is the kind of like basic A sharp major 7th shape, but for this melody on the last chord I pitched it down 2 semitones, which kind of makes it sound a bit more emotional than it would usually. A big part about making these piano melodies is just trial and error, getting everything correctly, getting everything right. So just take your time until you find something that sounds good. But yeah, stick around to the basic chords and some like basic chord progressions, and I think you're going to make good melodies. But yeah, let's move on with the breakdown. So next off we have these Topline keys. This is what they sound like. And yeah, a big part about this melody are these notes that are next to each other on the scale like this. And one trick that I love to use, you can see it in this melody as well, 2 notes that are next to each other like this. Then from the first note, go 4 down, so like this, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can either do it like this, where you transpose it an octave up, or like this, where you go down. But for this melody I went like this. I think it fit better like this on this melody. Another thing on this melody is that first off, this melody is kind of going down. You can see the notes are going down, but on the next part the notes are going upwards. And yeah, little stuff like that will make your melodies more interesting and overall just help them transform and sound more enjoyable to listen to. Definitely try to think of little stuff like that when you're making your melodies. Other than that, on this melody I just sticked around to the scale that I was in. And yeah, that's very important, because if you play notes that are not in your scale, your melody will just sound bad. But if you just stick around to a specific scale, like over here I'm in D minor, automatically every note will sound good because they are in the same scale, and that's very important when you are making these top line melodies. But yeah, so for effects on the pianos I have a Valhalla vintage verb. I turned the mix to around 18, then I turned the low cut all the way up just so we don't get any of the muddiness on the reverb. And yeah, then I just left everything as it is. Then I added a fruity Fruity Delay 2. I love to turn the feedback to ping pong just so the delay kind of plays on like different sides. Then I turned the mix level on the delay way down. Last thing I added on the piano is this basic EQ. I cut down a lot of the basses, the low frequencies, and I boosted some of the highs just to take some muddiness out of the piano and get some brightness on the top side. And yeah, this is what the piano sound like together. Beautiful, man. Next thing I added is this bass line, and as usual I'm using the Scarpy Rickenbacker bass. This is my go-to bass, and I'm using the night session preset. This is the bass line that I came up with. And yeah, what I did on the bass is I'm just following the root notes of the piano chords, and I'm adding these little bass fills on end of every like section. And what I love to do on this bass is add notes that are either like one note separate from each other or like next to each other on the scale, so that we can get this little sliding effect on the bass. That just adds to the realism of the bass, and I think it's very important, because if I didn't have this slide, the bass would sound like this. Kinda nothing wrong with that, but it sounds a lot more like computerish and not as real. So yeah, if you have the Scarpy Rickenbacker bass, definitely use these slide notes. They are a game changer for these bass lines. And yeah, now my favorite part about the whole loop is this guitar, man, and this guitar is beautiful. And what I used is the Evolution Infinity. This is my go-to electric guitar. I used the Tap Faster Lead preset. This is what the guitar MIDI sounds like. Yeah, beautiful guitar, man. When I'm making these guitar melodies, I don't have much of a formula, but I have a couple of things that I love to do on each melody. So first off is the setup of the guitar. What is essential for these is to turn the pitch range up. I like to go up 12, but you can go like 10, 12, 20, 24, whatever is good for you. But for me, 12 is perfect, so we can go up one whole octave. After that, you just have to find notes where going up one octave on the slide sounds good. So usually if you are in minor scale, let's say you are in D minor, the C is going to sound good. And for this melody, the G sounded good as well. So let me show you what I mean. Listen to when I slide over here, how it sounds good in context of everything else. Then let's compare it to another note where it doesn't sound as good. So yeah. Okay, so C sounded good. Let's try like E. So you can hear that that doesn't sound good. So you have to find notes where the sliding is going to sound good, because it adds a lot to the realism of the guitar as well. When you are able to slide notes, do the pitch bends. It's a major part about playing the guitar. Slide the notes, do the pitch bends, and yeah, that's what you want to emulate on the VST guitar as well, to make it sound as real as possible. If you're wondering what I did on the pitch bend, here you can see the slides, and I will play you the melody and you can just follow along over here to what I did on the pitch wheel on my MIDI keyboard. Exactly like on the piano, this one is also all trial and error. I think it took me like a solid 15 minutes to come up with this melody, and that's okay, because at the end of the day, the goal is to make good music and you're learning on the go as well. The goal is to kind of like hear what sounds good and what sounds bad, and just like find these ideas that you can use on your next melodies and so forth. For effects on the guitar, I added a Valhalla vintage verb, and I turned the low cut all the way up, but I turned the mix around 50%, and I love to use a lot of reverb on these lead guitars because it just helps them blend into the melody better. Next off, I added a Fruity Delay 3, and I turned the mix way down to 6%, and I didn't touch any of these. Lastly, I just cut down some of the low end from the guitar. Last thing I really added on this loop is this E piano from Synology. I used the As a EP preset. I use this kinda as a pad on the background. This is what it sounds like. These are just the same chords as on the piano. And for effects on the E piano, I added a lot of reverb, 52%, didn't touch the low cut. And then I used the mid-side matrix 3 to make this sound wider. Lastly, I just cut down some of the low end and some of the high end. And yeah, honestly, that's about it for the loop. I just added some final things. First off, I added these chimes. Then I added this kind of like background texture. And lastly, I added this crash cymbal. And yeah, honestly, that's it for the melody. But yeah, that's about it for the breakdown. If you liked it, like and subscribe. And yeah, we are going to release the Ultimate Paint Multikit version 3 next week, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be the best kit for paint beats, like hands down. It's going to have so much stuff, like over 300 guitar phrases. That alone is crazy. Then we have an analog lap bank, drum kit, midis, and so much more stuff. It's going to be an amazing kit. But yeah, if you want realistic guitar phrases played by professional guitarists, the Ultimate Paint Multikit bundle is the perfect kit for you. It has everything you need for paint beats and paint loops. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. I just realized that I haven't even made a paint tutorial in a while, so yeah, I'll try to make more of them. But yeah, if you like the video, like and subscribe, and see you on the next video. Peace.